Now, three of the formulas at the front of your exam paper you will see are formulas for the sine rule, the cosine rule, and finding the area of a triangle using sine. We're going to look at those now. First thing we're going to look at is the one called the sine rule. Now, first of all, have a look at this triangle. A triangle is called ABC. You've got a capital A, capital B, capital C. And labelled are three sides A, B and C also. You'll notice the way they've been arranged. A opposite A, C opposite C and B opposite B. The sides are all lowercase letters, small a, small b, small c, and the angles are all uppercase, capitals, A, B and C. So the sine rule shows us that A divided by sine A will give us the same answer, because it's equal, to B divided by sine B. That will also give us the same answer, because it's equal, as small c, side C, divided by sine of angle C. It also works the other way around with the angles on top. If you notice here, the side lengths are on top. Over here, the angles with sine are on top. So sine of angle A divided by side A is equal to sine of angle B divided by side B, which is also equal to sine of angle C there, divided by side C. So let's have a look at an example, put that into practice. So again, we've got a triangle A, B, C. You might not always have them labelled as A, B, C, but this one is. We have a side here, 25 centimetres. We've got an angle, 47 degrees. We've got another angle, 84 degrees. And we've got this side X that we're trying to find out. Now, because we're trying to find a side, and we're going to find it to three significant figures, use the version of the sine rule that has the sides on top. So it's side A divided by sine A equals side B divided by sine B equals side C divided by sine C. Now you don't need all that. You need to look at these and remember that the angle is opposite the side. So A divided by sine of the angle A, which is opposite it. Now you can see we've got an angle here and we've got a side there. They're opposite each other. So that, if you're using that B there, we've got side B, 25, divided by the sine of 47. Okay? We've also got this side that we want, and we've got this angle opposite. So using this, I know that this side X divided by sine of the angle opposite, 84, is going to be equal to another side in the question, so 25, divided by sine of the angle opposite 25, so sine 47. So that's what we've got. You don't have to have three parts to it. We're only using two, as long as we know that this is equal to this. So that is equal to that. So now all we have to do is rearrange it slightly. You've got an x. This is what we want to find, and it's being divided by sine 84. So to get x on its own, we need to think, how do we get rid of divided by sine 84? Well, we do the opposite of divide by sine 84, which is multiply by sine 84. So on this side, that will get rid of sine 84 and leave us with just x on its own. On the right hand side now, we need to do the same thing, which is multiply by sine 84. So with a fraction, if you're going to multiply by sine 84, what will happen is it will go on top. So you end up with 25 sine 84 divided by the same thing as what it was divided by before, sine 47. Now if you work that out on your calculator by doing 25 sine 84, maybe press equals then divide by sine 47, you'll get an answer of 33.9959. Now remember to make sure your calculator is in degrees mode. You might have a little D at the top, or it might say deg. If it says R or rad or G or grad, it's wrong. It needs to say deg, degrees. So anyway, there's the answer, but we want the answer in with 3 significant figures, so that will be 1, 2, 3, there being a cut-off. That 9 will push this 9 up to 0, which in turn pushes that up to 4, so you get the answer of 34.0. And we're trying to find a side length, so it's got to be centimetres, because that was in centimetres, cm. You might be tempted to leave off the 0.0, but don't. If it wants 3 significant figures, you need to give it the 0.0 on the end. So that's a sine rule example. Let's have a look at one more. So here, again, we've got a triangle. We're trying to find an angle this time. So now we're going to use the versions of the sine rule with the angles on top. Remember, these aren't actual angles, these are sines of the angles, but they need to go on top. So let's have a look at what we've got. We've got this angle here, and we know the side opposite is 7. We've got another angle here, 40, and we know the side opposite is 6. So I can write, using these rules again, that sine x divided by the side opposite, 7, is equal to sine 40 divided by the side opposite, 6. Sine x over 7 is equal to sine 40 over 6. So, have a think about what we're going to do now. Well, remember, we want that. We want to find x, but first we'll get sine x on its own. So we need to get rid of a divide by 7. So we need to multiply both sides by 7. So we end up with sine x on its own here, because if you multiply by 7 it will get rid of that, equals, and then multiply this side by 7, so you end up with a 7 on top. 7 sine 40 over 6. Now if you work that out on your calculator, so 7 times by sine 40, press equals, divided by 6, you will get 0.7499. Okay? Now remember, that isn't the angle. That is sine of the angle. Look, it says here sine x, the sine of the angle, is equal to 7 sine 40 divided by 6. And we get that. Now, how do you get from sine of an angle to an actual angle? Well, we need to use the inverse sine function. So x, which is our actual angle, is equal to, now inverse sine is written as sine to the minus 1. On your calculator, to get that, you'll press either the shift key or the second function key, and then you press the sine button, and that should appear on your calculator. If you look at your sine button on your calculator, you might see above it, really small, is sine to the minus 1. So if we do sine to the minus 1 of 0.7499, now whatever that number was, it might have been a lot longer in your calculator. You shouldn't have cleared the calculator. If you leave it in, so it's on screen, then when you press second function or shift, sin, that will pop up. Now if you use the button that says ANS, A-N-S, it will use the last answer that the calculator worked out, which was this number here. So, when you press sin to the minus 1 of 0.7499, you will find out the actual angle, which is 48.6 degrees, to 3 significant figures. And that's the sine rule.